Hello, I'm Tantra Binsko, your writing instructor, and today I'm reading from the beginning of someone's novel, and he's planning on possibly turning it into something that's not even a novel. The idea is fantastic, and I hope that comes through, that this is a very worthwhile piece. When I work with somebody's material like this in a way that I use it for teaching, I change nearly every word and do as much to make it somewhat unrecognizable, definitely not the same piece. And at the same time, I keep the qualities in it that I want to address here so that not only the author of it, but everybody else watching this can learn some things. And this is particularly useful if you're thinking about hiring me to edit your work. You can understand where I'm coming from with these things. And rather than have me go through your work and explain all these things and take the time that you will be paying for, I may send you to one of these videos so you can learn about it in depth and hopefully understand the issue better than maybe you could before. This person did not really understand what I was telling him for a long time. It took a lot of back and forth to get across these ideas. And so there may be other people out there who have similar difficulty understanding the issues with point of view that you're working with. The particular point of view that I'm working with this time with this piece is head hopping, but there's more to it as well. So we will address all the different issues that come up with this as we go. And it's a somewhat extensive piece, so be prepared to stick with me for a while. Teresa Bland and Simone Parr, two well-known actresses, spoke with the new girl, Nora Twine, and hairstylist Betty Jem, speaking loudly over the bustle that afternoon at the studio. Teresa was brunette and Simone sandy-haired, while Betty and Nora both had platinum hair. All right, so what might we find difficult about this beginning that would make it hard to access, hard to feel for these characters, to understand who it is that we're supposed to be tuned into? How is she relating to the world around her? How do we relate to her? How do we relate as her? There's a lot of questions that must be answered in the beginning of a story. Mostly what we get here is a lot of names. And people don't remember names. It's, you get introduced to somebody at a party and you've just learned all these names. And you can see their faces. You can see how they move and how they talk and how their hand feels when they clasp yours. But you still probably have a hard time remembering their names if you've just been introduced to a lot at once, right? We don't have any of those things here. All we have is a generic label for them, like actress, and a one-word description of their hair color. So when you're introduced to people at a party, you're noticing maybe they have a certain perfume, maybe their voice has a granular quality, maybe the way that they're standing is awkward, and all these things come through when you're meeting somebody, and those are all the cues that you use to try to place them. Okay, this is the one that stands like this. This is the one that stands like that. This is Simone. This is Nora. All right. So you try to figure out when you're meeting somebody something that really stands out about that person and makes them unique, so that they are unlike anybody else in the world. And none of that is presented in this introduction. So they're just speaking, they're well known, it's loud, it's bustling, it's a studio. We don't have any we don't have any of our senses at play. We're not experiencing the sounds, other than that they're speaking over the bustle, which I added in. It was not in the original. So something about the sounds, though. What kind of a bustle is it? You know, some particular, is it like some great metaphor about the bustle would be great. So normally you want to go slow when you're giving names. You probably don't even want to use first and last names because that's a lot for a person to remember. You definitely don't want to use a lot of first and last names, especially not right at the beginning, unless there's something unique about them. You know, some they go together to form some sort of meaning. You know, but if it's just names, you really don't want to do that. And so you don't want to say that there's like these people are speaking to each other and they're all actresses and they're this and that, because as it is, it's like we're watching something from a distance. That's fine if it's a movie, we're watching people talking. In a book, we want to immediately know who is the character of this scene, and it's not told to us yet who the character of this scene is. The main character can often be given more attention as to what makes that person more unique. I know more unique is not correct, but what makes that person really stand out more than the secondary characters. The secondary characters can be described in a flat, very quick way, but the main characters need to be described in a way. It's like you're meeting a new friend that you're going to spend a whole book with. You want to care about them immediately. And you want to know why you should care. Maybe you're not supposed to like them, but you're supposed to find them compelling in some way. So we have all these people, and they have hair, and some are actresses, and one's not an actress, and we're supposed to remember which one's not the actress. And so people are just going to move past that and not really retain that. They'll be looking for cues to be reminded, okay, yeah, this is the actress, this is the hairstylist. Okay, Nora, you should attend Teresa's announcement soiree. You're such an important part of her movie, Simone suggested. Most of the people key to the studio planned to go. Okay, so Nora should attend. I don't know, Nora, she's the new girl. We can look up new girl. Does that mean she's an actress? Does that mean she's a hairstylist? Does that mean she's an assistant? A new girl? What is that? She's an important part of the movie. Well, maybe she's doing her makeup. We don't know why she's important to it. Maybe she's the author. Maybe we don't know. And most of the people key to the studio plan to go. Okay, so that tells us this is maybe an omniscient, because we know what all these people are planning. Now, if it's omniscient, that's generally going to make the readers take a step back. Omniscient is not really used much at all. Sometimes people who have been writing for a very long time and have established that they write in omniscient, they've got, putting out their 100th book, they're an old lady, they may keep writing in omniscient and people may keep buying it, but it's not at all a popular way of writing now. So people are not really used to it. So once they see, okay, all these people are planning to go, then that means it's omniscient. So that means we know what everybody thinks at all times. There's no mystery about anybody. So if somebody's saying something, we know what that something is. We know what they're believing, what they're thinking. There's no coyness. There's no hiding what one character is thinking. And that's really throwing away a lot of the author's tools, because it's nice to create that mystery so that we don't know what somebody is thinking, and they can be lurking in the shadows and planning something, and we don't know. So I am very sorry I have made other plans. I will attempt to stop by later. Besides, my role is strictly in support of the leads, Nora pointed out. All right, so these ways of speaking, they all sound kind of formal. This one sounds particularly formal, and so I think, well, does that mean that's that person's way of speaking. Like whenever we see somebody speak really, really formally, then it's going to be that person. And a very, very formal way of speaking, it's not that interesting. It's not a great way to introduce a character. We really want people who speak like people really speak and have their personality come through. So an important part of the movie, well, we still don't know who she is. And my role is in support of the leads. Well, maybe her role is a secondary actress then. So we're trying to put together the pieces. It's very cerebral. It's like a puzzle. That doesn't have to be. It could be made easy for us. Nora, I think the same thing. Your part is unusually difficult for a supporting role, Teresa stated, hoping to convince the actress she worked with to stay away from the dangerous meeting, her apparent destination. Okay, so this is Teresa speaking, but since we haven't heard Teresa speaking before, it's good to let us know who's speaking. We won't be able to identify her words from her way of speaking yet. So at the very beginning, give us the names first. And basically, she's saying something very similar to what the other person said. She's agreeing with her. So we're not seeing the dynamics of push-pull, disagreement, different viewpoints conflicting. We're seeing agreement, and that's usually kind of static. It's not moving things ahead very fast. Hoping to convince her. Okay, so to stay away from the dangerous meeting. Well, we don't know what the meeting is, so that makes us wonder. But at the same time, there's not much information given to let our minds start trying to figure it out. So this makes it sound like, okay, we are in Teresa's point of view, we're in her mind, so it's omniscient apparently, but it's Teresa's in particular, and yet it's saying the other person's apparent destination. So what we think, okay, it's apparent only to Teresa, but the reader knows, the writer knows, because this is omniscient, right? But we're not really later told about that. Really, what seems to be happening is that we're now going into Teresa's mind and not into the other person's mind. So it starts to become a little bit confusing because that sounds a lot like head hopping. Now, head hopping is going into one character's point of view and not knowing what the other characters believe. So it's not omniscient. And then going into another character's point of view, maybe in the same sentence, the same paragraph, the same scene. It's okay to switch between scenes. That's not head hopping. But if you switch within a scene, that's head hopping, and that's not considered okay to do. It's considered breaking the rules. Okay, I'm going to stop this here before it gets too long, and I will move on to part 2.